Greetings! This recording covers the lesson on components of research. Even with this term, there are different perspectives. But in this lesson, I am going to cover components of research in terms of first, research elements, second, research process, and third, research manuscript. At the end of this lesson, you must have distinguished the components of research. Taking into consideration various materials I reviewed, I was able to come up with the following figure representing the elements of research. But I cannot discount the fact that there are certain variations in the descriptions from different authors, which will be revealed eventually. I was able to identify 5 main components of research. First is the research problem, part of which is the statement of objectives or the list of research questions. Moreover, the scope and limitations are detailed to ensure clarity of the problem involved. Second is the theoretical framework. It is composed of ontology, epistemology, theoretical perspective, and theories. These terms will be explained later. Please bear in mind that the theoretical framework is usually being differentiated from the conceptual framework. There are also various definitions of this concept, one of which is that it is the total logical orientation and associations of anything and everything that forms the underlying thinking, structures, plans, and practices and implementation of your entire research project according to Kivonha 2018. But common practices is that conceptual framework seems to present only the methodology being employed. Others may refer it as the research design. But later on, you will learn that research design may refer to something else. Third is the methodology, which is basically composed of the data collection methods and the data analysis methods. For the fourth element, I refer it as results, but this is composed of the interpretations, implications, and conclusions. The fifth one is references. References include the literature being reviewed, literature as related works, related concepts, and related studies. One of the items in the theoretical framework is the ontology. What is this? According to Crotty, it is the study of being. Moon and Blackman refer this branch of philosophy concerning with what exists in the human world that we can acquire knowledge about. Guba and Dincolin clarify it as it responds to the question, what is the nature of reality? Another item in the theoretical framework is the epistemology. Crotty defines it as a way of understanding and explaining how I know what I know. For Moon and Blackman, it is the second branch which is concerned with how do we create knowledge. Maynard clarifies it as a philosophical grounding for deciding what kinds of knowledge are possible and how to ensure their adequacy and legitimacy. Another item in the theoretical framework is the theoretical perspective. According to Crotty, it is the theoretical stance informing the methodology and thus providing a context for the process and grounding its logic and criteria. Moon and Blackman refer it as the philosophical orientation of the researchers which guides the research. It is the philosophical perspective stemming from ontology and epistemology, which is supported by Al-Sadi, who refers it as the view of the world and knowledge. Patel and Levers refer it as the approach to use to know something. In other words, they refer it as the research paradigm. The following definitions of theory from different authors were extracted from the study of Kivonha 2018. Glantz defined theory as interrelated concepts, definitions, and propositions that explain or predict events or situations by specifying relations among variables. Similarly, Kerlinger and Lee defined it as a set of interrelated constructs, definitions, and propositions that present a systematic view of phenomena by specifying relations among variables with the purpose of explaining and predicting the phenomena. Also, Usher defined it as it is comprised of ideas, concepts, and themes that enable us to understand the phenomenon. The following figure is an illustration from Moon and Blackman on the relationship of the three branches of philosophy identified in the previously mentioned framework. Examples are not exhaustive. Methodology refers to the strategy, plan of action, process, or design lying behind the choice and use of particular methods and linking the choice and use of methods to the desired outcomes. Examples include experimental research, survey research, ethnography, phenomenological research, grounded theory, heuristic inquiry, action research, and feminist standpoint research. Both Crotty and Giacomini refer methodology as research design, while methods refer to the techniques or procedures used to gather and analyze data related to some research question or hypothesis. Examples include sampling, measurement and scaling, questionnaire, observation, interview, focus group, case study, life history, narrative, visual ethnography methods, statistical analysis, data reduction, theme identification, comparative analysis, concept mapping, interpretative methods, document analysis, content analysis, and conversation analysis. For the research process, I am presenting based on my experience. First, identifying a research topic. Second, reviewing related literature. Third, defining the theoretical framework. Fourth, describing the research problem. Fifth, choosing the methodology. Sixth, collecting the pertinent data. Seventh, analyzing the collected data. Eighth, interpreting results. And ninth, presenting the research. However, other people may opt for a different path because of their preference. You may be asking, which part do you prepare the conceptual framework? Adapting the definition of Kibonha, as it is a logical master plan of an entire research, then it should have been ready during the early stages. As an analogy to building a house, it is ideal to have the complete plan ready before the construction. But in reality, there may be some minor changes. Just like by extending the description of a conceptual framework from the same author, as it is the umbrella term relating to all the concepts and ideas that occupy your mind as you contemplate, plan, implement, and conclude your research project, then the final illustration of the conceptual framework may be available at the later part. For the contents of the research manuscript, they vary from institution to institution. I am presenting the one which is common. It includes the preliminary pages that contain title page, approval sheet, acknowledgement, abstract, table of contents, list of tables, list of figures, and list of appendices. Then, followed by the 5 chapters. Chapter 1 is the introduction. It includes background of the study, theoretical framework, conceptual framework, statement of the problem, definition of terms, significance of the study, scope, and limitations. Chapter 2 is the review of related literature. As mentioned previously, it is composed of related concepts, related studies, and related works. Chapter 3 is the methodology. As described, this contains data collection methods and data analysis methods. Chapter 4 is the results and discussion. The presentation is based on identified specific problems. And Chapter 5 is the summary of findings, conclusions, and recommendations. Then, the list of references follow. and concluded with a number of appendices that may include correspondence, instrument, and computations. This marks the end of our lesson on components of research.